During the 1940s and 50s, the scientific community was debating whether protein, or DNA, was the hereditary material responsible for transmitting traits onto future generations. An experiment by Avery, MacLeod, and McCarty suggested that proteins were not responsible for heredity. Rather, DNA was the genetic material inherited from one generation to the next. In an effort to support or contradict the information discovered in Avery, MacLeod, and McCarty's experiment, Alfred Hershey and Marta Chase set out to conduct their own experiment. In this experiment, Hershey and Chase used a T2 bacteriophage as their model because it was already known that a phage was composed of protein and DNA. In addition, Hershey and Chase knew that when a phage infects a bacterium, it injects its own genetic material into the cell, which directs the bacterial cell to synthesize more bacteriophages. To determine whether the injected material was protein or DNA, Hershey and Chase used radioactive forms of phosphorus and sulfur. The first batch of T2 bacteriophages contained radioactive phosphate, because phosphate is incorporated in DNA. The second batch of T2 bacteriophages contained radioactive sulfur, because sulfur is incorporated into proteins. With each of the batches, Hershey and Chase allowed the T2 bacteriophages to infect a bacterium, which in this case was E. coli. After allowing time for the phages to infect the bacterial cells, they used a blender to detach the bacteriophages from the E. coli cell walls. When centrifuging the materials to separate the fluid material, which did not go into the cell, from materials found within the bacterial cells. After centrifugation, the radioactive sulfur was recovered in the fluid material that did not enter the cell. Since sulfur was found outside the cell in the phage protein coats, Hershey and Chase discovered that protein does not enter the bacterial cell and is not transmitted to progeny phages. In contrast, after centrifugation, the radioactive phosphorus was found within the cells of bacteria, demonstrating that DNA from the infecting phages had been passed on to the progeny phages. Overall, Hershey and Chase's experiment demonstrated that DNA, not protein, is the genetic material passed down from generations.